Greetings, good evenings, hello to everyone here and there and everywhere on this 19th of November 2024, 7:51 p.m. on the East Coast. It's your man, Big Aaron, the Iceman. Back in the building for Tuesday once again for the VIP Lounge. And as always, we got Mr. Chill Out in a severe state of chilling out. So much so that the camera's chilling out. It is what it is. What's going on, Chill Out?
What's going on, y'all? Hit that like and subscribe button. Welcome back. What's going on? I feel good. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Hang on, let me. Your mic is seems a little low. Okay, so let's recognize some of the people in the chat. Of course, the first lady of the Wool Report, Mrs. Wormley. Good evening, y'all. Hello, my dear. And Eyes, of course, always showing love in the building. What's going on?
Salute, salute.
I don't know if you dropped the link to your channel in the chat. Please do so. You have a wrench. Yeah, I see you have a wrench. Yeah, drop a link in the chat. I think it's important to support you as well. A lot of good content over at Almanizer's page, especially if you were into the elections and all that sort of thing. Go check her out, man. I don't need to say anything further, but appreciate you being here. Topic of the show, as always, is an extension of This Might Be Risky's Tuesday Uninterrupted. And this one was, uh, well, it was unrealistic standards, and it seemed to have graduated to managing disrespect in the relationship. So I'll start by asking you, Mr. Chill Out,
Mm.
do you think men and women have unrealistic expectations or standards that they place on one another? And if so, what are they and why do you think they have them?
Yes, yes, they do. Well, I think because they have these standards already put up in their head, so that's what they're going for. These expectations and things that they want to see play out like a movie, and then they expect the people they meet, and I'm saying they as in man and female alike, the people they meet to meet these expectations that they have created themselves in their head for the perfect person they would want to be with.
Give me some examples of what some
Okay.
not necessarily on an individual level, but just on a macro
Okay.
level.
So the man to have a certain salary and to be knight in shining armor, for the woman to be submissive, quiet, uh, do as I say, fall in line with the game plan, uh, no controversy ever, uh, everything's flowing in one accord between, communication, finances. The dream is just what they set it out to be perfectly in their head to fit the scenario that they wanted. So they expect the individuals unfairly to live up to these scenarios and expectations that they created fictitiously in their mind. I mean, the scenario is real and this is what they want, but to meet this person that has all the criteria that you've created is unrealistic.
And what about men? What are some of the unrealistic expectations or standards men have for women?
Oh, that was a dual sword. That was dual edged.
Oh, you think they're the same?
Yeah.
You think attraction is symmetrical?
I think oh, like I say it like this. No one in this world is perfect, right? So we'll weed out what I'm really trying to get into, right? So no one in this world is perfect, and you're gonna meet some people who are just who they are, right? And you might find these attractions, or sometimes people are emotionally damaged and just been through things in life, and they meet 70% of what you feel is a good mate for you, if you even know what that is. But you find this person, and then you don't know how to work out or discuss or weed out what you feel is that other, you know, 30% of negative, 35%, you know, whatever the case may be. Um, because the flaw lies within us also, that we still have 30 to 35% of the shit we need to get together. So I think those expectations become very unreal, because the largest scenario is you made this person up in your mind to fit the needs that you feel that you want met, but you're not looking at what you're not or bringing to the table, vice versa.
Right. Yeah, I can dig it. So the reason why I was asking is because you had mentioned two things specifically, um, submission and income.
Hmm.
You think women are looking for submission, and do you think men give a shit about income?
I think men want to provide, so if income has a play on providing, I think the emphasis to come from women uh so I think about this is where that expectation thing comes into play. If he makes a okay income, you know, he's not six, seven, eight-figure club, right? And he's providing means. I think there's an appreciation of this is what, you know, you can make other things work. Happiness doesn't always come from the monetary thing, right? But if you had this expectation that you were gonna find this person who, whatever their, you know, financial endeavors are, to have them at a certain level, and you don't see that. You're thinking that every person you meet are supposed to have. And I guess we're specifically talking about the way you asked about income. If they're not what you were, then they're less. But you put an expectation in your mind where you want it to be. So why don't you just get yourself there, and then you surround yourself because you're making five, six, seven
I th-
figures. You know.
I think I may have missed you. So all right. So when it comes to expectations, let's maybe deal with it one at a time as far as men and women.
Okay.
Um, so the expectations that women have for men, independent of what men have for women, just working on that. You think overall those expectations tend to be unrealistic?
I think everyone's trying to live
No, no,
with
no,
the
no.
Kardashians.
Just women.
Women want
Uh,
to women want to keep up with the Kardashians, as they say these days.
okay. So as a result, you think that their expectations are unrealistic, the ones that they have for men that they would potentially consider overall.
Yeah, because the expectations are in their own mind that they set up.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Okay.
I'm just trying to mine out what exactly you think is happening. Um, so with that being said, one of the expectations is that where you fit income.
Yes.
What other expectations do you think women have of men that are not realistic?
To have all the time in the world to just sit there coddling
Yeah,
every emotion.
got you. Which right? How can you make all this money and then have time?
Yeah, I have to
Yeah,
do everything else that you need me to do, and these expectations you set up for me.
right.
So I'm supposed
So
to be sitting on a McDuck load of money and have all the time in the world.
yeah, and that kind of is what makes it unrealistic. So yeah, I got you now. So Now, let me ask you this: what are a couple of expectations that men have for women that are unrealistic?
I think you gotta have the have me. I think it's like the submission of communication, right? Women have a voice now, and they're more vocal about what they feel, right? And I think we had a conversation about this before, where I was saying it was about how we come across one another and communicate between men and women. I think that there would be women who would concede more if men came across at a like we say about that. You have the best definition about, if I tell you to move out the way, tie your shoe, but I saved your life, type of thing. The analogy you use. Um, if we use that term in our communication. But I guess to get back to the question, because I don't want to seem like I'm evading it, I think the unreal expectations is the communication part. She's just going to do what you tell her to do when you tell her to do it.
You really think that that's what men expect, or do you think that's what is a talking point?
Men expect that if I'm telling you something, I'm not wasting my breath to tell you this is because I care for you, I love you. So we shouldn't have the 20-minute debate about it.
So you
If
think
you know I
men
love you, yeah, we expect you to just
give
hear me
give
when I'm telling. Oh, so you want
give
me to
me
dig in an example?
yeah, no, well, no, not an example, but give me like a, because that just sounds extreme. That sounds like when you say women have an unrealistic expectation regarding income. That sounds like what you're saying is women want men to all make $100,000 a month. That's $1.2 million a year. That's extreme. Like I don't. While I would agree that maybe most women have unrealistic expectations regarding a man's income, I don't agree that most women want a man to clear 1 million in a year. And what you're saying,
I think the extreme is just a drive a point of a. I'm not pigeonholing into one thing. I mean, it's just like to be able
right?
to maneuver in a certain way. I don't think that. All right, so the unreal expectation is to just see it freely as it is on the movies. I think sometimes a fairy tale. Disney has done the best of painting those.
Whose expectation mirrors Disney, men or women?
It's women, Aaron.
Okay, well, right. No, okay, well, I had to be sure. So, but what are some expectations that men have that are unrealistic? I mean, we can get back to the whole
Okay.
communication thing, but what else?
Um.
I mean, if you don't think men have really too much in the way of
No,
unrealistic
I mean,
expectations,
I'm not really unreal.
okay, then that's an answer.
Um,
And I think that kind of drives a point home to a degree. Um, I think
I think we have
maybe,
expectations for sure, but unreal,
yeah,
like crazy unreal.
right. Like it's unrealistic for women, by and large, to expect men to make $185,000 a year because most men don't make $185,000 a year. That's a simple fact.
Right.
I don't think it's an unrealistic expectation for a man to want a degree of submission as long as that degree is an extreme. And when I say that, I mean, I expect my woman to have an opinion, and it's welcome, and I want to hear it. I expect her to have a point of view, suggestions, whatever the case is. And it's up to me to pay attention to that and cherish that. But when I say submission, there always has to be a final say. And for the most part, I think submission would suggest that that would be granted to the man, or guidance of the trajectory of the relationship. So, for example, following a man's leadership when it comes to communication standards, decorum, how we treat one another should be led by the man, right? And not the woman. Like that is another form of submission that I'm talking about. For example, a woman, let's say there's a conversation that has become contentious. Let's say we're in a disagreement, right? We're having, we're engaging in very strong discourse. There's got to be a certain standard of communication that has to be maintained. There's a limit to what we can say to each other before it becomes abusive. And I think the man should set, enforce, and he should set, establish, and enforce that standard by example, and then she should adhere to it. So if we agree that we're not going to purposefully insult one another or bring up previous, we don't become verbally abusive. I don't think that's something that should be led by a woman, because I don't think it's their natural. They naturally will weaponize that shit because that's what is the weapon that's available to them. You see what I
Yeah, no,
mean?
I agree
So
with
it's up
you.
to
And
her
it's
to
a
follow, right? To follow, or if you're out the course of the evening, if a man says, "Hey, listen, I think we should get out of here," she should, okay, he should get out of here because he's responsible for our safety. And if he's perceiving something ain't right, whatever it is, we need to just get out of here without no questions. Or now, if
yeah.
she's perceiving something, she's got to go to him and say, "Hey, babe, I'm not feeling right about this place or this whatever. I think we should roll." Then he's got to make that executive decision, or at least take her somewhere and then talk it out or whatever, get the details. But that decision is ultimately on him. That's kind of submission that I'm talking about. But like if we're out somewhere and like let's say me and my wife are out, I'm like we got to go or we got to relocate or position ourselves this way and that. She doesn't okay,
Okay. Right.
right, just like that, because she
Right.
knows I'm the chief of security in this operation, and that you can't question. If you're questioning, you're probably late. Like we're probably getting into fucked territory. You know what I mean? And she knows not to risk that.
But I think that's what I'm trying to get into is exactly what you're saying is that communication starts before that ever even happens. The pillow talk is a little bit different at night, and you are communicating with one another in a fashion where you start to understand tone of voice, body language. You're really trying to become in harmony. Now, that's not saying that shit is easy. That's not what I'm saying. But that's what you're trying to do. So you say, hey, let's maneuver. Right. So one thing you were saying and I'm agreeing with was is it does start with us and it ends with them. It has to become a circle and motion of it. We lead with it and then it ends with it. It gets reciprocated back and forth. Right. And I think that throughout these quarrels of sorts, people tend to forget how important to understand the power of word. What you say can really uplift someone or drive them over the edge. And I think it becomes more harsh in uh, personal relationships between man and women that the verbal punching bag becomes frequent because it is a comfortable place and not really understanding how to communicate with one another. And that's how all this shit goes crazy. And you are screaming and yelling and belittling one another. And 95% of the time, you have lost total control of what the topic of conversation, argument, what even got you here to begin with.
Right. So that's exactly why I was initially weary to say men are seeking such high levels of submission when it comes to communication for that very reason. You know what I mean? It seemed like a
Yeah.
little extreme when you first pitched it. It seemed a little totalitarian. It seemed a little bit tyrannical. Like I don't know that men want total submission when it comes to
No, yeah,
communication.
no, we're not talking about like whatever you say go.
Right? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not.
yeah. Whatever you lie. Yeah,
No,
right.
yeah, yeah, right. No, that's not. We're talking about. I don't think men see it that way, but it's like if we're having a communication and unrealistically, men are putting this on women. Women are going to fight back. I said women have a voice, right? I said that. I said women have a voice and they discuss what they feel now. They're not going to take that away. But if you're having these communications and understanding with one another, your personal partner, and how
Right.
you operate in things, and that becomes a in real time deal. I don't need everything we were talking about to like get flown out the window, right? I need you to adhere to what we were talking about if anything ever happened. Um,
Right.
that type of
And I,
submission.
right. And so and you're right. I don't. So now, so we agree that men don't think like that, right? And that's kind of why when at first when you said it, it was I was taken aback because I'm like, wait, men don't think like that. But I think it's important to still communicate accurately the difference because the fact that the matter, well, I don't want to say the fact of the matter is, but in my estimation, women do think like that because when you use the word submission, the hair on the neck stands up like they what you would think you used the word slavery.
Well, see, I had like we talk about this all the time, you and I guess it's right, but here we are.
Mhm.
We have to submit into the role of a man, right? Which is submit, not just submission, right? You gotta
Well, yeah,
involve that, right? So it's
but
about
they don't
leading
know
with,
that.
but it's about leading with love, your tone. Like we have response. I mean, I was when I hopped on, Hamp show and was saying that, like what my son, right? Like you are young men or even older men who have never been taught to have these qualities and you're trying to figure them out and learn them on your own, the responsibilities of a man and in the household when you're in a personal
Mhm.
sexual relationship with a woman, having children and doing these type of things, your role is way more bigger than society paints it out to be because you're leading the household with your action and how you display love, right? You are two things in the man that they try to discredit this situation is a man and his daughter, that's her first introduction to what a man's supposed to be in the world. And to your sons, you showing them what a man is supposed to be in the world and how a man operates. Uh, doesn't have to be perfect. He's accountable for his flaws. He stands on his word. When he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And when he said it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. He is just straightforward as an arrow. So these roles are very important as men, but we some men, including myself as a young man, without having that and had to figure it out and realize through my own mistakes, and then be like, okay, we can't do this anymore. This is not what real men and how real men operate, right? These are the grown ass boys still getting into tiffs with females and arguing and such things of that nature when you're supposed to operate and maneuver with love at all times, even when you are telling someone, "Hey, you really don't want this ass whooping." That's still like, I really don't want to give you this ass whooping. Everything is a maneuver out of love, and we don't know. We pick those up if you're a good man and you want to pick up and attribute those, get those attributes underneath your belt.
While I would agree, I also think it's necessary, yet and still, to communicate thoroughly to women what exactly is being said when it comes to submission, because I don't know that they think like that, and I can't expect them to think like that because that line of thinking is not required of them. To me it seems like it's an automatic. It's almost like one of those no need to be said scenarios, but like you said, submitting to the role of being of a man. You know what I mean? Submitting to the role. They don't. That still comes with a level of authority and autonomy that women don't. I don't think see as any kind of submission. Submitting to a role. What does that even mean? You're accepting a role, but you're still assuming position of authority, and I don't think that they process it as a role of servitude or service.
No, it's
So
an
I
action.
think
It's
well, yeah,
they look at it more
but
as an action.
it's an act of service. But
No, that's the part
because you
that
have to prioritize, huh?
that's the part that's missing.
Well, right. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I think the distinction needs to be made because with us, it's intrinsic. With us, it's assumed that to be the case. Women, they don't look like that. They don't see things like that. So when we communicate the expectation of submission, they're going to see it differently. They're going to see it as me below you, me listening to you, me, in service to you, and nothing in return. So essentially, like I said, essentially it's slavery.
Right. When we're not viewing it that way.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we're not viewing it that way at all. It's
Right.
I need a teammate here, and you might hit the winning shot, or I might hit the winning shot, but that doesn't change
But I'm
the
going to
role
shoulder
of
the
the
yeah, I'm
captain
going to
of the
shoulder the brunt of
team.
the responsibility. You know what
Right.
I mean? Or if there's an ultimate responsibility, I'm willing to. Right, and that comes with the price. I mean, that comes with the price of having the last say on majority of shit.
Right.
But but we also understand that that requires me to be in service of you and to prioritize you in many cases. Because when you think of a leader like in the military, there's traditions that leaders eat last. For example,
So,
um, like
so
a
this,
general
yeah,
eats last after the sergeant, and the sergeant eats last after the private. Private's first to eat.
low man on the
And the
totem pole
private,
for yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, always. The private is the first to board the airplane, getting out of there. Then the sergeant, and then the general. And the motherfuckers first off the airplane is the general. Then the sergeant, you know what I mean? So there's always that kind of, yeah.
Surveying what's happening when we about to land, because if it's any danger, it's me first, and then I can get it together and
Well,
find out what's going on.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, pretty much is saying that I am
Yeah.
here to protect you. And that, you know what I mean? There's a pecking order as far as authority and responsibility, but there's a reverse pecking order as far as priority that happens simultaneously.
I'm kind of hung up on the role because I feel that that's where the biggest issue lies on both ends of male and female. It's
What role?
understanding the role of being a man and the role of being a woman.
What are you
I
hung up on?
think that I'm hung up on that society is hung up on not knowing how to do it.
Well, it sounds like you not hung up. Society is,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's exactly
But
why we have these. That's exactly why we have these conversations, though.
those are the issues that then fall into the household, right? Because it's us who have these conversations against those who do not and follow whatever that is, right? And then you're fighting that with your,
Well,
well,
no,
not
we
fighting.
don't. We ain't following whatever that. We're following shit because they ain't got
No,
households
no,
we
no,
do.
no. We're fighting that type of beast in our households because our children are coming back, and you're like, hey,
Oh well, we're
hey,
fighting the world, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's why we had the war report. Cut that shit off. Stop what the fuck you doing. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, no, not doing that. You're not doing that shit. Yeah. So that's how I see that. Um, but it all comes down. I think we're with the horse we're on right now is it all comes down to the line of communication, and men have to submit to that line of communication to understand the role of being a man, and the role of being a man, like the leader, is still communication. And when you start that communication line process and you maneuver with your wife, you should always express that no matter how angry or upset or aggravated you may feel, because as soon as she sees you start acting a fool, that's gonna
Oh,
have
you've
her
lost
right there.
control. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has all gotten cast to the wind. Shit is no more. Yeah, no, trust me.
Ah, the salsa has hit the wall for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
Salsa,
yeah.
baby.
All the excrement has hit the air conditioning.
Everything is everywhere, and any communication, and then reeling that back in is that's what I'm saying. Reeling that back in is horrible. You're not gonna reel that back in the right way. It's gonna be you're fighting the Bering Sea in the middle of
Yeah,
January. Like you it's just bad. And
yeah,
that was
yeah,
my
yeah.
learning curve.
You're aboard the USS fucked in the fucked ocean.
Yeah, yeah, fucked ocean. And that was my learning curve and understanding that it was all about communication. It took forever to get it right, but now that it's right, it's definitely harmonious in the home when you are even through seeing things from a different perspective. You sit down and you talk about it uh, over some tea or whatever the choice of drink is, and you put yourself in these vulnerable moments that hash out whatever it is, or redirect the home. It
Yeah,
becomes beautiful when you see that stuff start to work. You know what I mean? It's all about the communication and validating. It sounds like, oh, pussy shit or whatever, but it is. It's validating that they feel, I see you, I hear you. Your shit is not corny to me. I'm really on your side here. Maybe you not. You know what? I'm gonna hit you. It was something we saw. It was funny. Denise and I saw this. I can't recall where it was exactly, but it hit us both the same way. It was like you have two plates, right? The male has his plate, the female, wife has her plate, the husband has his plate, and everyone's both their plates are heavy. And sometimes you lose this line of communication because you don't want to bother them because you see what's on their plate, and they don't want to bother you because they see what's vice versa on each other's plates. But
yeah,
that's where you start to get the distance. But if you sit down and you talk and you validate each other's plates, and you acknowledge whatever they got, and you're not asking for no help, and vice versa, they're not asking for any help, but you just validate that and communicate that, hey, look, this is busy, these things are going to do X, Y, and Z, and I see that these things are doing ABC for you, and I wish I could help you more, but I know, or I wish if there's anything you do need, let me know, whatever, but you might just need to fuck off altogether and just let you know I see what you're doing. That creates a beautiful harmonious thing, and that's the work part, because that's every day, that's all the time. It's little things that just keep the wheel going, is that line of communication, for sure, for sure. Like, it's never easy to keep it smooth. You're going to get a little choppy every once in a while, but to keep those line of communications, I think that it closes the gap faster, to not let each other like drift in their own shit cake that they got going on in life, because even though you're together, you still are individuals with your own things on your plate, and you try to alleviate them one another, but that communication is key. I never realized how major key alert that was.
No, communication's everything. I mean, and that's I think that's the number one culprit that's responsible for a lot of the failures and breakdowns in relationships today is just a
Mm.
lack of solid communication. And when I say solid, I mean communication that's thorough, honest, accurate, consistent, respectful, um, and two way. You know what I mean? Like it can't be unilateral or unidirectional. It has to be. Um, you
A
have to have
highway.
yeah, you have to have a quality of listening that matches your quality of expression. You know what I mean? Like you can express yourself accurately and thoroughly and consistently and all that madness and with respect and consideration, but are you listening with the same kind of ear? Or are you missing shit?
Are you
You
ready
know
to
what I mean?
rebuttal? Yeah, you ready to rebuttal something,
Yeah,
but you're
well,
not
right.
ready.
Well, that would be an example. Listening to
Yeah,
reply rather than listening to fully
you are ready
comprehend
to
and understand. Yeah.
let them finish the whole thing. Let them,
Let them
you know,
finish. Let it marinate.
yeah,
Listen to them, not to poke holes or find inconsistencies, but listen to them with the assumption that they're correct. Like listen to them as if you're trying to steel man their position or that you're trying to fortify it rather than automatically listening to it to take it apart.
defending
You
it,
know,
defending your
right?
actions,
Yeah,
which is one of those just we call default traits, right? So defensive default trait,
right,
where if you feel like you're being attacked, but maybe the attack isn't even about you. It's just something that needs to be said, and you may have a part to play. And that's back to that accountability thing. Okay, uh, I'm sorry for all of it, even the parts I don't play. Uh, and then how can we fix it? Right? What is something that needs to be done? And it's just more communication and then action. Right? Checking in. Are
right.
you okay? I mean, just more communication and action. After the first set of communication, more
Follow up.
action. Communicate. Yeah, talk more, do more, right? And let it be visibly seen that it needs
Right,
with whatever's going to happen.
but and that's the thing. I think even if the communication leads someone to feeling attacked, which is new to me, right? Like that's something that I'm struggling to kind of understand. I don't want to say accept. I've already accepted it, but I'm struggling to have compassion with it or to operate with it. But when you're communicating and you feel attacked, then it's your responsibility to communicate the fact that you feel attacked.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, this may be me, not you. I don't know, but this is just the way that what you're saying makes me feel at the moment.
Mm.
And then it's up to me. All right, you know what? How about this? Let's and then offer a fix. Whether it's let's get back to this later when you're in a different frame of mind, or how about I present it to you differently? Let's look at it a different way, or at least allow me the opportunity to say, well, the last thing I want to do is attack you. The last thing I'm trying to get accomplished is attacking you. But at the same time, validate their feelings of feeling attacked. Look, in the interest of validating your feelings, let's do this differently because that's not the outcome I was
Yeah.
looking for, and that's the outcome we've gotten to so far.
Yeah. You gonna put me in defense
But you
mode?
see the kind of communication this
Yeah.
required, the two way.
Back and forth.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Has to be open. Has to be open-ended
You have to be
communication.
open.
Yeah. And then be able to accept, like you said, one's truth. For sure, I agree with you. One that you have to be able to accept, and it may be a misunderstanding, but at the moment, the one thing that is not is that feeling. That feeling is not a misunderstanding. It's what I feel.
Yeah, a feeling
Now,
is a feeling, but they
yeah,
usually are a result of a misunderstanding. but the feeling is
Absolutely.
not. Yeah,
The feeling is absolutely
yeah.
correct.
There's an order of events here.
Now there might be a misunderstanding that makes this feeling arise.
It
We'll,
led you to that shit. Right,
we'll get there in a minute, but
right. Well, your feelings are real.
my feelings are real. I feel what I
Yeah,
feel. Now,
right.
can we help change that? All right, right. I think there's a misunderstanding there. It becomes, I think that's how you become the tornado of nitpicking, right? Just going back and forth of nitpicking because you're missing out on the validation of the feeling. That's how you move past the bullshit and get into the meat and potatoes of the conversation. Is validating what that, because you said it, I might be feeling attacked. It might be you came in a little hot. You shot out the barrel real hot, and that
Yeah,
might be because you're emotionally charged about what you're feeling. But
right. Yeah,
you gotta validate that. You gotta validate that.
yeah. Well, I guess that kind of brings me to the next question. And that's just, I don't know if it's a question, but just breaching topic of disrespect, um, and how that's managed, right?
It happens. Let's start there. Does it happen? You want that? Yes, it happens.
All right, that's a great
Does it
opening question. Does it happen? Yes,
happen? Yes,
and
it
I'll
happens.
agree, it happens.
It happens. Let's not say it does not happen. Why
Um,
does it happen? There's a multitude of reasons. Okay,
we'll
why
get
it
into it.
man, this thing I've been on is a lot of times I call it inherited trauma, right? Which goes in line and is married to the defense default mechanism, right? And being comfortable with disrespecting one another. But this one here, I'm sorry if y'all, the replay crew, if y'all hear, y'all might be upset. It is, I feel, what we just said, the guy's fault because he's not leading the charge of respect to go with. Shut the fuck up, bitch. That type of shit is gonna get that female charged the fuck up. And here we are now, you know, you ain't shit, you ain't never gonna be shit type shit
So,
starts to
so what's the
happen.
alternative?
Motherfuckers talk right from the beginning. Hold the standard. Don't be a man and
What's
lead the respect charge. And when she gets disrespectful, it's something you don't stand for. And that's not saying put your hands on her because her mouthpiece is. That's we don't need to be together. If there's kids involved, we're gonna have to reset this because with this is going on, this ain't it. This ain't gonna be it. This ain't we gonna have to go back to the drawing board. And if there's no uh negotiation and empathy and sympathy in the situation and understanding, then as we say in any gambling thing, just count your losses and be gone.
so you think there should be a level of negotiation?
It should be a level of no, okay, negotiation. See when you ask that, that sounds like I'm on the phone trying to get somebody off the ledge or something like that. Like that's not. I think there has to be some understanding there that if I am giving you respect, I don't like the term demand. I expect
Why not?
because I'm giving it to you. I don't demand. I expect it, and if you can't do it, this is the thing I've learned. Also, that's who you are.
What's the difference between a demand and an expectation?
I'm putting it out there, right? So I'm expecting that back. I'm showing you. I'm showing you. I'm I'm
But
I'm
what's
showing you. I'm showing you. I'm showing
what's the,
you what the respect is, what the demeanor between you and I are, the way we talk to one another.
What's the difference between a demand and an expectation?
I don't know the definition of the two.
So I would say, I mean, without actually looking up the definition, I would say an expectation is something that is allowed to be betrayed or failed. Like a demand, to me, comes with a consequence. A demand there suggests there is a consequence to not meeting the demand.
Yeah.
An
Okay.
expectation doesn't really,
Yeah. I still
to
think I
me,
expect it. You can't
an
because you can't.
expectation doesn't communicate a consequence, though. Like if you fail to meet an expectation, and then what? Or is a demand that's being made? It's like an
Uh,
ultimatum.
okay.
Like I demand this. If you don't provide this, then in some way, shape, or form, you're fucked.
I expect you
Whereas
to
if
be
I
who
if
you're
I
going to be.
expect this from you and you fail to meet that
I
expectation,
then
the
I expect
question
you to
has to
be.
be asked: what happens next?
I expect you to be who you're going to be, and everything then falls on me. What am I going to deal with or not deal with?
So how about this? Do you expect people to lie?
I expect people to be who they are.
Right. Do
I
you
don't know.
expect people? Do
I,
you expect
I,
people
I,
to lie?
I expect a liar to lie.
No, no. Okay. Do you think everyone in the world? Do you think there's anyone who's told the truth only?
No,
So everyone has lied at some point in their life.
some way or another.
Right. You see, do you expect that from everyone to be at some point to have told a lie?
Yep,
Now, do you demand everyone tell a lie?
exactly my point. No, I do not demand
That's
everyone to tell it.
right.
Right, but
No,
I expect you to be.
why
I
wouldn't you demand respect,
because I
especially if you're
expect you.
giving it?
I expect you to be who you are, and if you recognize respect, then you'll give it back.
If a
If you
demand
recognize,
doesn't put a
I
demand
can't
doesn't.
demand you. I can't demand. I can't demand you to be something that you're not.
Yes, you can.
I can expect you to be you, and then I can expect me to respond the way I want to.
Well, that
Stick around
sounds.
and deal with it. If I stick around and deal with it, then that's me sticking around and deal with it. And if I don't want to deal with it, that's me not wanting to deal with it. Now, if we go and go, hey, you did something, I expect it different from you, right? I'm not demanding. I'm expecting something different from you. It's not what I thought I was going to get. The way we come to this communication thing, those weren't my intentions. Or fuck you, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Once again,
I think maybe presenting it as an expectation is a safe bet, but I don't think it's safe to really look at tolerating disrespect as an expectation,
oh
especially
no,
if.
I'm not tolerating it. I'm expecting you to. If you got a funky attitude, I'm expecting you to be you. If you're a respectful person, I'm expecting you to be that.
But what if that is to be disrespectful?
Then that ain't for me. I ain't say I ain't gotta stay and take it. I
Well,
say,
then
hey,
that
that
sounds
shit,
like
that shit you doing right there, that ain't for me, and you can keep that for somebody else. Now, I don't gotta be disrespectful to you because you were just disrespectful to me. I could just say, hey, all that right there, you could go ahead and talk to a brick wall with that situation because I'm not dealing with that.
that is a demand. Then to be in a
No, that's a
relationship with
statement.
me comes to be in a relationship with me comes with the demand that you respect me.
That's a statement. Now, what you want to do with that is what you want to do with that. I'm stating what I do not tolerate. I'm
That's a
demanding.
demand.
I'm stating.
Yeah, stating your limitations of tolerance
Yeah,
is
but a
essentially
demand is you
is
have
making
to do it.
demands.
Demand is you have to do it. And I think
If you
that
want,
I
but
think that's where I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, that's an incomplete statement. You have to do it if you want a certain outcome. Is what a demand is. That's why I said the demand comes with consequence if you fail to meet the demand. I demand you pay me $30,000 for this vehicle, or else I'm pressing charges. Right? The demand comes with an or else. An expectation doesn't. An expectation is on you. I expect you to behave yourself. And if the person has misbehaved, they've essentially told you to take your expectations and shove them. Now you're just a person dealing with a failed expectation. Whereas if I say, I demand you to behave yourself, then the question has to be asked, or what? Or else what? Or else you're fucked.
They can both be ignored.
Yeah, but one comes with a consequence, and that's a demand. An ignored expectation. There's nothing that suggests I have to live up to your expectations. You see what I mean? There's nothing that holds
Okay.
me. There's nothing that binds me to your expectations of me.
All right, so let me clear this up. I hear what you're saying per definition of what we're going with this, right?
Yeah,
But I view people with those, you're gonna be who you are. Even in a personal relationship, you're gonna be who you are.
yeah.
Right
Well, we all
now,
have a choice.
right. And what I will tolerate or will not tolerate is on my plate, and for the next man to choose what he wants to, right?
Yeah,
But I go in with these more of expectations, letting them say, hey, you're going to be who you're going to be. And I'm going to see if you're somebody I want to deal with. Because it's like this, you can force or try to force in the same long-term relationship to change this person. We've seen this a million times. You can't change a person or force a person to change for you. It's
hmm
not. It's not going to happen, right? So
no,
you
yeah,
can
of
put.
course.
So you're putting these demands, this or that, and it's still a failure, right? So my expectations are you are who you are, and that's how I view it. So that's why I don't expect or demand uh, uh, anything from them until I see who they are. But then when you try to cross a line where my standards are, well, that's not where I'm at with that, right? So now I don't know what you thought you were going to get this way or what you were expecting, but we're going to tell you this is. I'll clearly draw my line in the sand, but I can't demand anything from you because you are who you are, regardless of what anyone says. You are gonna if you're okay. Back to the disrespect. If you're a disrespectful person out of past trauma, defense, default defense mechanism, all those things that I like to joke around and say was people have characteristic traits, those type of things. That's who you are. That you don't know how to speak to people, you don't know how to operate under certain conditions because if you get frazzled dazzled, you're going to go back to all these mechanisms that you have under survival mode.
No, what if this person wants to be with you?
This is now you don't want to be with me because it's not. You're
Yes,
not
they
going to
do.
change. Yeah, no, you're not going to change. You're not going to change. You have to want to change first of all for yourself before you'll ever change for anybody else. And if you don't think you have a problem, then you'll never figure out you have a problem.
What about this? I didn't realize I had a problem until I met you, and that's why I want to be with you.
You need to find yourself and get some therapy. You don't leave relationships alone.
You know what you're doing? You're making demands. You want to be with me? You need to find
I didn't say
therapy.
be with me. I didn't say be with me. I didn't say be. I said leave relationships alone
Why does this person need to go to therapy?
because they need help for themselves. Not to be with me. The contingency was not to
If
be
they
with
find the
me.
help, can they be with you? If they find the help,
No,
make the change and change the
no,
behavior, can they be with you?
no, nope, nope. Sure can. Go, you'll find someone else to be happy, and I'll be glad that I sent you on a better way in life. But it wasn't to be with me.
So you're essentially saying that there are human. Wait. Now I'm lost. There are humans that don't. We all have the potential to be disrespectful.
Yeah. Yes.
We wouldn't
We all
know
have.
that, huh?
Yeah, you're right. We all have the potential.
How would we know that until it, unless it manifests?
Well, there's levels, right, to it also, right? Are you a hothead? Does everything piss you the fuck off? Or do you have valid reason when you get upset and there was an accumulation of things? So
But
basically, what's your anger? What's your anger tolerance? Is it like mine, or are you short and you're gonna be, pissing
what if
off
they're
at the
short?
mouth?
Well, what if they're short but in control?
Nah, I don't like that. That's not gonna work for me.
How would you
Sooner or
know?
later, I met someone like that.
But how would you know?
Everything. Oh, it was just be hanging around with them. But this isn't 3 years in, my brother. This is a month. You're like, whoa, whoa, okay.
Right. Well, that's not under control then. If they're exhibiting
Oh no, no.
behaviors,
Oh no. Because if the right scenario set, oh, say you're hanging out and you're spending time together, right? And the time you have is different occasions of the day and night, right? If the scenario is stressful enough, no matter what it is, the accurate trait will presume itself.
yeah, everybody has limitations. Everybody has their button. But I'm saying
Right.
a
So,
person
all right.
that
So
has relative control.
okay. How long would that control take before, or a matter of comfortability before the representative goes away and the actual person comes out?
With women, they can wear that mask for years. They can wear that mask for years.
You know what? Sadly enough, you're probably right.
you
You're probably
you
absolutely,
know it.
yeah.
You
Sadly enough, they definitely sure can. They got the representative. So men do too, and the posers.
Yeah, well, we sell dreams. That shit gets figured out pretty quick. Women, the women. I mean, there's an age old adage that
Well,
once a man gets married, the woman a man marries and the woman a man is married to are two different women. You know what I mean?
what was it? The Fresh Prince John back in the day, where it was like men tell the most lies and women tell the biggest lies, right?
You see, yeah, say that again.
Men tell the most lies and women tell the biggest lies.
Yes, yes, correct.
Right? It was like,
Yeah, men lie the most, women lie the best. Yep,
yeah, the biggest lies. Her hair isn't that long, her breast isn't that big, her eyes aren't that
that's it.
color.
That's it.
She's wearing heels, she's not that tall.
That's it.
She has pants that are enhancing. She has a waist trainer to make her look more slimming.
A
This
woman,
dude,
a
wait,
woman can a
this
woman
dude is
can
lying
tell
about.
one lie and live that, and that lie can affect you for 10 years. And you know what that lie is? What you see is what you get.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
well, shit. This dude's
Right.
lying about how much money he's got. That's his lie, right? And then he's lying about the
That's one
car,
lie.
the movie.
I got a Maserati. That's another lie. Right. I have this and that, all these different lies. But a woman, all the lie could be is who you see me to be is who I am. until whatever it is in life that changes it, and then you find out what the real is and discover all that shit was
It was a
fictitious.
lie. It was the biggest lie.
It was all a
uh,
dream.
you don't look like that in the morning.
You don't
Oh,
look like that when bathed.
you don't look like that at all. Like, who are you?
You don't act like that either. That's not you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly how that
I
goes
never
down.
liked you anyway. Well, why the fuck are we here?
How we get here?
How do we
And
get
then,
this? We 10 years deep. You never liked me
oh,
anyway. What do you mean?
back to the biggest lie. I never liked
See?
you anyway.
See? Either you
Whoa.
telling the truth now and you've been bullshitting me for 10 years, or you lying your ass off now, and for what? Because you mad? Either way, but they'll let it fly as if
You
both answers are the truth.
and live with it. You
And,
figure
and
it
we
out.
and we live with it.
We fucking live
See
with
what I'm
it.
saying?
We fucking live with it. Why do we live with it? Why do we live with it?
No, 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 no. We is a I don't live. No, no.
No, no. Yeah.
Yeah, no. You know
Why
what
is it
though?
why is it lived with? Why is it lived with?
Because that is one of because we like pussy.
Hey, are the expectations of sexual encounters a part of that shit we uh, bitches
Now,
put
now
up
we're
with?
getting ready. Yes, now we're getting to the expectation versus demand. Exactly. Yes, the expectation is that pussy is going to show up, but can we make demands about it? Not necessarily. Right.
I'm saying, how about the encounters? Are is she a freak enough?
Well, that can change. That can change your expectations of her. Absolutely. The freakier she is, the less the less dignity you can expect her to have.
ah, so her freakiness is aligned with her dignity. How about she's just doing it for
It
you?
is directly but inversely proportionate. Yes.
How about if she's doing it for you? So she has no dignity.
It's a tug of
If
war.
she
They're connected by rope on a tug of war. When one goes up, the other one comes down.
oh, ain't no way. She has. I'm stuck on that. She's a super freak, low dignity.
Well, you can expect little dignity.
Little
She can have
dignity.
all the dignity in the world, but it's up to her. I mean, look, the
So
better.
she's so wait. So uh, a great amount of dignity, less freak.
No, I'm saying the less freaky she is, the more dignity you'll be prepared to expect because you'll be fortified with the strength to expect it. But when your ass is turned upside down, inside out, and out, and she comes with the shits, you're gonna be like, okay, you've seen what crack addicts do, right? You think these motherfuckers have any dignity?
ah,
The better the krill, the more they're willing, the more likely that the bodega's getting robbed.
oh man, I did not picture that way. You have did it again. Oh man, I'm an extreme though. I'm just thinking like the dignity's out the window. Super freak dignity's
That's
out the
what
window.
whores are for.
Yeah, no dignity.
All dick, no dignity.
Ah! She said, "I'm here for the money, not the honey."
This is, you see, this is the virtuous, this is the plight of the virtuous woman.
So is that what we're fighting out? How thin is that line?
No, that line is what it is. It's just what are men willing to do to navigate it. How much disrespect are you willing to tolerate? Now, I would suggest that a successful man can have both. A woman of dignity with mitigated disrespect and still be satisfied carnally. But that's why relationships are built, not, you know, they're built. They're not
Yeah,
discovered. You don't discover relationships whole. You put them together. You construct them. They're grown out of two pieces. You know what I mean?
yeah. This is more like Legos and puzzle pieces.
Yes, right.
This isn't putty out the jar. It's just ready to
Yeah.
rock and roll. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, this
It
isn't a
moves.
print.
It
This
builds.
is a
Yeah,
painting.
yeah. This is true. I definitely agree with that. We
Now, if you
definitely
paint
agree with
correctly, if you have a good artist and a good medium that the artist can use, then you have a good painting. And this is a good relationship. If you have a shit artist and good medium, you have a shit painting. If you have a shit medium, a good artist, you have a shit painting. If both are shit,
that. This is a
well,
shit.
you have a brothel. You have a whorehouse.
We have a shit show.
You have a shit show. You have a shit show. Deluxe. All right. But when they both are of
Quality.
high quality, yeah, and they get together and allow each other's uh, attributes to shine, and they complement one another, right? That's what it was. When they complement one another, when the paint is easy to mix and manage, and the artist knows how to mix on the brush, on the canvas, and on the palette. When thin paint sticks properly to thick paint, and the artist knows how to use paint thinner, that's when you start developing quality works of art. When your colors are vibrant, wow, that was a buzz. When the colors are vibrant, they don't wash and fade, right? And you don't your artist does not have eyes like mine, colorblind. You know, he can see. Now you have a quality painting, and this is how quality relationships are built that way. And it's going to take some paint mixing sometime. You know what I mean? You're going to have to get
Mhm.
that right shade. You're going to let it dry a little bit and go over it. You're going to have to get a knife and scrape that off and try something else. You know, but you start with the outline. You get a pencil and outline what you want to do. And those are your boundaries and expectations and demands that are set. Those are your limitations, right? You outline your shit, and then you get the brush and the palette, and then you throughout life make your painting.
Mm, I like that analogy. That was a good one. We can convert that one into motorsports, can't you?
Listen, I just looked at the clock. It's 9 o'clock. We'll be here until tomorrow. But I absolutely could. Um, yeah, I'm not going to, but yeah.
See, when you're going down that road and you're hitting them turns, you gotta.
Well, see, you starting, aren't you? You starting.
Because I already know. I'm thinking about how you would go about it in your head to say it. Like you say
Oh
things
yeah.
like that. So, and the terrain could change and all that other stuff. But I like the
Well,
painting
right.
analogy.
But that's true, and that's true. The environment changes. The track surface will change every lap. You lay down rubber, other cars are laying down rubber. It's a constant. Is
Just
it
constant
raining on this
change.
part of the track? Yeah, all the time. Your vehicle is changing. You don't have the same amount of gas. That lightened your vehicle, and where the gas is kept, the weight distribution just changed. Every lap it changes.
So it
Your
changes in
tires
your
warming
yep.
up, the compounds is changing. Yeah, everything's changing.
So it's just like life in your relationship.
Exactly.
Yes, yesterday ain't isn't today, and today isn't tomorrow, and
Right.
uh, every moment, minute, things are changing, and you have to adapt to that.
Right.
Sure, for sure. So you said it's about to be 9.
No, it was 9 o'clock 2 minutes ago.
Oh, well, the woman's POV.
On and popping.
You know it. You got to catch it. Like, subscribe, hit those buttons. Thank you for watching the War Report. And this might be risky.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. On that note, you want to take us out?
You already know. All the time, stay blessed, honorably obedient, overcoming dominantly throughout hardship. Importantly, noticing God's strength. That's hood things.
Good things indeed. And as always, if you don't go when you're good and goddamn ready to go, when you do go, your ass has already been gone.